and the best of intentions at all times. And if anybody has an example from anywhere around the world that's comparable, that's relevant to Ireland, that it has the same population distribution, all of the same factors, that is some kind of magic bullet for this in a sustainable way that sticks week after week after week without any variables, without any change, then give it to us.
I don't
because we'll do that, but nobody has it, and we're all trying to manage this right around the world together. David?
I don't underestimate the scale of the challenge facing any government, and I would say as well, we all have a responsibility as individuals. I do, you do, everybody has to look to what we do ourselves, and I fully accept that. We all have our part to play, but equally governments have a part to play. And my quarrel with the government isn't so much whether we should be at level 3, 4, or 5. That's advice that NPHET will give. The government have to listen and they have to act. And I genuinely believe all options have to be on the table. But just the point I want to make, we wasted the summer months because what we needed to do was ramp up capacity in testing and tracing. If you talk to people on the front line in tracing, it's a system that's creaking under the pressure of not having enough staff. We had some of them on 0-hour contracts, we said it all. We don't have even still, we don't have enough. And we were told, we had said to the government, and I had launched my proposals in the summer, that we needed to ratchet up capacity in ICU. At the press conference on Wednesday, Stephen Donnelly was saying that, well, it takes time to get more ICU capacity in, which it does. You need specialist staff. Why wasn't the planning done in the summer months? We wasted the summer months to ratchet up capacity in testing and tracing in ICU and acute beds, and now we're paying a price for it.
Obviously, the government has to think about other considerations other than, you know, the narrow, I shouldn't say narrow focus of COVID, because it's all encompassing really at the moment. But there are other considerations, obviously, that the government has to bear in mind. But the problem is that nobody can kind of see a long-term strategy at the moment. What people are looking at with the government's approach is a death by 1,000 cuts. We'll remain at level 3 for 3 weeks just because we're all kind of hoping it will work. But the public health doctors say actually
the strategy is
the rest of the country will join the border counties at level 4 maybe in a couple of weeks, and then we'll have to see whether that works or not. And then what if we're all at level 5 over Christmas? How is that going to go?
Well, look, it's worth letting you know now that the RT newsroom is reporting that NPHET has recommended that the entire country moves to level 5 of COVID restrictions for 6 weeks. Government sources have confirmed details of the recommendations to RT News. The advice is contained in a letter sent to the Health Minister last night. It's due to be discussed at a meeting between government officials and the Chief Medical Officer. I think that meeting was underway a little while ago, so those conversations will be happening. There is no cabinet meeting though due to happen today, and Taoiseach is in Brussels, but that may change.
Of course that may change.
On the basis of that news.
Yeah, it may change because of course it's possible to put together a cabinet meeting, to have an incorporeal cabinet meeting as necessary. But what we need
the recommendation is for level 5 for 6 weeks. I'm not sure, I think I said something else, but it's for 6 weeks.
And now what needs to happen is that we all keep our heads, that we go through the process, that the senior official groups respond to that, tease it out with NPHET, and that there's a political decision when that political decision is ready. And I mean, there's no difficulty having a cabinet meeting on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, or anything else. It's certainly been done before if that's necessary. But we need to just react to that advice, tease it through, let the officials do that, and let a political decision be made if that's what's appropriate.
Given that you've told us how aware you are of all of the economic and social impacts, 6 weeks is a long time at level 5. When you consider the impact that it will have on all of those things you mentioned earlier.
6 weeks is a huge length of time for all of those things. And that's, you know, in a sense, what the government has been hoping we wouldn't have to get to. And so, look, the most important thing is that I don't speculate on what might come out of Cabinet or the public health decisions that might have to be made. But there really are massive implications for individual people's lives that go into level 5. And the strategy has been, you know, Colette said there was no strategy. The strategy in the first instance was to try to suppress the virus and then open up as much as we possibly could in a way that was going to be safe. We've seen the resurgence of the virus. We now have to close down. We always anticipated that this would be open and close to try to keep things as open as possibly could be, as safely as could be. We're now at a point potentially where we've had to pull that.
I'm open to correction on this, but didn't NPHET last week when the recommendation was level 5, wasn't it a recommendation for 4 weeks?
Yes.
Level 5.
Yeah.
And now we see, you know, just a little over a week later, what's the recommendation? 6 weeks. So this, like the decisions the government are making could ultimately harm the economy, and what they're trying to do is to protect it, and that's just one